Okay, now I know many people are excited about Outriders being released soon. I'm one of them. I enjoy the looter shooter genre, but many of the mechanics that exist in them become tedious and boring very quickly. Trying to find that one piece of gear you need to make a build work could take more hours than it's worth. Outriders fixes that problem and many others with a level of transparency and empathy that is rarely seen in today's gaming industry as a whole. However, with Outriders being a complete experience out of the box, the devs have announced that new DLC or content won't be created for the game unless the game is successful. While this makes a lot of sense business-wise, and it avoids the messy PR business of making promises you can't keep, it also takes away the idea that this game can last for a long time. I didn't play Destiny or much of Destiny 2, but I'll use them as an example anyway. They had regular DLCs that brought in income to create profits and further development of the game. While monetization is an ugly word for a player base, it's necessary for developers to be able to get a taco for lunch. With the promise of future content to come, players have no problem shelling out cash to play the current version of Destiny 2. The quality of that content isn't something I can comment on, but you get the idea. Outriders has no such plan or promise. The endgame consists of 14 zones of progressing difficulty, but what happens when you reach the pinnacle of your playthrough? The chase for gear and builds can continue with other classes, but players will be taking those builds through the same 14 zones over and over again. But unlike other games, there is no promise for future content. We can assume that the game will do well for the company. I mean, there's a lot to be excited for regarding the game. But will it do well enough to warrant future content? That's the question that I'm asking. How long will Outriders actually last? Will it be a dead game before the year is over once the majority of players make it to the endgame and farm the Eye of the Storm like we do with the Captain right now? No matter how excited we are for the game right now, in a month or two, where will that excitement be? Now, it should be noted that these devs have done more for the game industry than it would seem. By being transparent with the player base, offering a full-blown demo for the game with no strings attached, actively making the demo better for players even before the game is released, and allowing players to carry their progress over to the full game from the demo, they've shown that developers don't have to be shady to be successful. All of this out-of-the-game stuff should be supported by the gaming industry, and if you as a player want to see more of this type of behavior from developers, you should find a way to support them as well. Through positive words on Reddit or actually buying the game, whatever you want to do. I can't say it enough. Outriders does a lot of things right, and just like a fantastic movie, we're going to want to see more of the story. And by story, I'm not necessarily meaning the story, but the game. We're going to want to play more of the game. You get the idea. I'm really rooting for the game to do well, really well. And the fact that it's number 2 in the Steam bestsellers list right now, right behind Valheim, looks pretty good for the game itself and the game industry as a whole. But I wonder if the parent company for People Can Fly, which is Epic Games by the way, will see it as a big enough success to warrant more content for the game in the future. Considering the greed of game companies these days, I don't think we're going to see new content for Outriders, and I think it's going to be a real shame for the game. I really hope I'm wrong, but let's look at Valheim. Valheim's active players has dropped over half since its initial runaway success. Those players are simply waiting for new content because you can only build a new building in a different way so many times, fighting the same monsters different ways so many times before you get bored. Valheim is in early access, so there's less to do and updates are expected in the future. I love playing it, but right now I'm thinking about filling boxes full of all the different items available as my endgame goal before the next big update hits. Super exciting, right? And in the Outriders demo, we're grinding legendaries to unlock mods for future builds for future content. Outriders is complete, out of the box, with no guarantee of new content. So how long can the game last in that environment? This is really the only thing I wanted to talk about because I really hope that Outriders becomes a runaway success that drives the company and the devs to create more content for that game. The only way that happens is if the game does really well and maintains a player base past their expected retention rate. I figure we'll have update news about a month after its release, and we'll find out whether they'll update the game with new content or not. So we'll see. Well, let me know what you think about Outriders and if you think we'll see new content in the future. If no new content is announced for the game, how long do you see yourself playing it? I'm genuinely curious. If you liked the video, do the YouTube algorithm things to help the channel. I moved on from another game and YouTube hates me for it. I appreciate it. Thanks. Until next time, I'll see you in Enoch.